Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with a quick review of the Meta Quest 2 virtual reality headset. And you'll notice I didn't call it a gaming headset, and that was on purpose because I think a lot of people think of this as a gaming system. And it is a gaming system. It's a fantastic gaming system, matter of fact, where you can slide these headsets on and actually immerse yourself in an environment when you're playing the game. So if you're looking for an upgrade from a standard gaming system, this could be the perfect solution because you really feel like you're in that ping pong match or you're playing tennis against somebody or solving a puzzle with friends in a 3D room. It's fantastic as a gaming experience. But just thinking of it as a gaming system really sells this system short because the technology inside that virtual reality headset can be used for so many more things that really expand beyond just a gaming system. Now, one of them I'd like to talk about today is a travel application called Wander, W-A-N-D-E-R, that will actually transport you anywhere in the world and give you a three-dimensional view of the area you're standing so you can look around, you can see buildings, you can see other objects in the area, and really experience travel from your couch. And I know it sounds strange, but once you put the headset on, you really believe you're walking the streets of Paris, or you're looking at the Great Pyramids, or you're in Italy looking out at the coastline. It really can transport you to those locations. So I've spent a lot of time with the Wander application, and I found a few different ways to use that application that I found thrilling, quite honestly. The first one is an obvious one. If you're ever going to go on vacation, knowing where the big points you want to see in that city are is really important because you can waste a lot of time when you arrive in a city somewhere in Italy and then spend half a day trying to figure out where that building is and do I go down this street? Is that other building over there? Where are all the restaurants and what do the restaurants look like? So before you go on your vacation, you can dial up a location anywhere in the world and you'll get a three-dimensional view of that street. You can actually look at the restaurant you're going to visit. You can turn to the left and see what other buildings are nearby and other interesting things that you can go visit. So it can save you a lot of time on your vacation because you've already walked the streets. You already know if you go down to the corner and make a left, maybe you'll see the Arc de Triomphe if you're in France. You want to turn right to get to the Eiffel Tower. You want to go across the river, there's the bridge. You can actually walk across the river. So in a lot of ways, it's preparing you for your vacation, which is going to give you a much better vacation because you're not going to have to worry about whipping out a map and trying to figure out where everything is located. So the first application of that Wander is to use it for sort of preparing for your next big trip. Another application of it, which I found fascinating, was we all have a nostalgic streak where we want to go back to days gone by where maybe we were a kid, we lived in this particular neighborhood. You can put these goggles on, you can dial up the street you grew up on, and actually be transported right back to that street. Now, obviously, you're going to see pictures of homes as they look today, but the Wander application also has the ability to turn back the clock. So it's a bit of a time travel where you can actually go back 2 years, 5 years, 8 years, in some cases, maybe 10 years. So you can look at that building as it looks today, as it looked 5 years ago, as it looked 10 years ago, so you can actually turn back time. And that can be really kind of an interesting experience because I've gone back to where I grew up and I've walked down the main street and I've looked at my friend's house, I've looked at an old girlfriend's house, I've looked at buildings that I knew that were there when I was a kid that now aren't there anymore. So in a lot of ways, it's like a stroll down memory lane where you can go back and actually experience that. Another cool thing you can do with it is that it's based on Google Maps and there's some other data in there as well. Wikipedia is involved, but you can actually, when you're looking at a building, especially if you're going to travel to another city, you can actually get information on that building. So you can tap the building and really good historical information will come up telling you when the building was built, who built it, maybe who's lived there before, if it was a big building that had some kind of significance in the city. All that detail, all that history is there. So if you're a history buff, it's a great way to walk the streets and actually look at the buildings around you, especially if you're going to Europe, because there's some really old buildings in Europe, and then get the history of that building versus the history of this building. So there's a lot of ways that using virtual reality to immerse yourself in an environment that you're not physically standing in can be a really powerful experience. So when you think of this unit, I don't want you to think of it as just a fantastic gaming console, because it really is. But that one application, Wander, which is one of many I'm going to talk about as I review this console, I think is a benefit that older people like me or even people that love to travel can use to sort of see places that they're going to visit, go back in time and revisit places they've lived at or remembered from their past, and really get a real sense of history of an area by tapping on that particular building and getting all the history behind it and all the interesting stories about when it was founded and what kind of wars were fought there. Whatever your curiosity would dictate, you can get that information. So I like this product an awful lot. We've been using it with the family to play a ton of games, but I'm starting to explore a lot of other applications that make this Meta Quest 2 much more than just an awesome gaming system. And I think when you think about those other applications, it really expands the use case for a product that a lot of people are going to bring home and allow their kids to play games on and maybe not even explore some of the other applications like Wander. So if you've got a few minutes, check out that application on the Meta Quest 2 headset. I think you're going to really find it useful. And I promise you're going to enjoy going back in time and looking at your old favorite haunts. And if you're going to travel, it's a great way, again, to get familiar with the city long before you step foot on that plane. So hopefully you found this review helpful. I've enjoyed talking about it. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, as always, stay nerdy.